How can a moment of distraction have fatal consequences? Today, we talk about navigation mistakes and how they can lead to an emergency. Welcome to our next episode of the Cave Diving Scenarios. In this series, Mauro and I are simulating how the average cave divers respond to different emergencies. To keep it realistic, we introduce only the minimum conditions necessary. And at the end, we analyze what happened. With this scenario, we want to show you how divers could get lost in a cave. One of the fundamental rules of cave diving is to maintain a continuous and personalized line from the open water area all the way into the cave. To achieve this, we use personalized markers and spools, and we never go far from our line. Getting lost might seem highly improbable, but what we are about to show you is based on our experience as guides, on accident reports from all around the world, and in some cases also on incidents involving people we knew who didn't make it out. The shocking truth is that the majority of the cave divers that we are guiding are making the same kind of mistakes that we are about to show you.
Welcome to the debriefing room. As usually, we're gonna break down what happened wrong, and how to fix it. I've been thinking for a while about what to say, so long that I grew a beard in the meantime. But what I wanted to tell you is that this scenario happened for real. One of my divers, exactly in this cave that you see in this video, exactly in that intersection, on the way out, he missed it and he kept going in. Of course, that day I just called him, attention, look, the T is there, the exit is there, look at the map, blah, 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 and the problem was solved in 2 seconds, okay? But these things happen for real. Divers make navigation mistakes. They miss a T on the way in, not always on the way out. And when you miss it on the way in, it's much worse because you didn't mark your exit, or they place a directional marker like an arrow in the wrong direction. Or sometimes they even accidentally pass in front of you on the way out and they let you alone in the cave, removing all the navigation, and you are there by yourself, and likely you are a cave instructor and not another teammate who could not react the same way, let's say. Now obviously, when there is a navigation mistake, doing a guided cave dive, the outcome is not dramatic. The guide is usually telling, hey, attention, look, you fucked up the navigation, now let's try not to die. And that's the end of it. And of course, we try to do it in a constructive way, because constructive criticism is the only one that works. And this is why we are doing this kind of videos, where we're gonna see what went wrong and how to fix it. From the beginning of the dive, we can already see that these 2 guys are not doing the things the same way, because the team leader is using a wet knot and a compass, and the teammate instead is just a wheel slate, which allows for a minimal space for writing, and probably never used a compass in his life, which is very common among most divers, unfortunately. When it's time to do their navigation operation, in this case T, we can see that the team leader is taking data about if the T is left or right, about the depth, the time, the direction, and possibly is also checking the flow, which is another very important natural reference, where the teammate instead is probably just writing down the time, T right and 10 minutes, whatever. It's not because it's the job of the team leader to take all the data, where the teammate instead is just pointing the light. No. Every diver is responsible of taking data for himself. After the turnaround point, when they go back towards the T, what happens? The teammate is cutting corners, and cutting corners is something that usually happens when the cave is fairly wide, and you get lazy about following the line exactly at every tie-off. And so it doesn't see the T, because the intersection is created on a stalagmite. So it can happen that your exit, the side of the line that goes towards your exit, is hiding behind the stalagmite, and it looks like a tie-off from the distance, because the other part is hidden. I know this is a stupid mistake, we all agree on this, but it happened, and it happened because of this reason. It's much less likely to happen if the T is clean. Clean means that the T it's floating, is not tied on a rock. And so they keep going in, because the team leader also has the head up his ass. He doesn't check what he's going, where he's going, is just following the teammate. The team leader realizes, because he takes data, wait a moment, we are not supposed to go in this direction. By at this time, we should still be going in this direction, and we should have already met our intersection. Why are we still going? Why we didn't find it? And why the general direction of the cave changed? Something must happen. Maybe we made a mistake, because the compass is never wrong. They disagree on what to do, because the other guy, who is never been taking data, it doesn't know how to interpret the information that the team leader is sharing with him. And this is why there is this misunderstanding, and the other guy say, the teammate says, well, you know what, we just have to keep going until we find the T. I don't understand what you're telling me about the T is there, I don't know, I'm just following the line. Missing the T is something that really happened to me exactly in that place. What happened later, the separation, this is a construction of different accident reports of stuff like this that happened for real. What happened next in the video is our happy ending, because after all, not every accident degenerates in the loss of lives. Now, the team leader reaches his T as expected, and is then wondering, okay, what the hell I'm gonna do now? This guys is not like a standard situation, okay? So the guy is thinking, I could just go out and maybe look for help and come back with more divers, more tanks, but maybe there is nobody because you are in the middle of the jungle and it's just you. The team leader decides to leave one of his tanks, which is a mix of two different procedures. There is the lost diver procedure, where in case of separation, you put the light towards a marker that points towards the exit. And then there is the gas sharing for advanced cave sidemount diving, where instead of sharing gas with the long hose, you can actually swap tanks underwater. Of course, this is made in front of each other, not 500 meters apart, as we can see in this video. But basically, the team leader is adapting his standard procedures to a situation that is unexpected. He's basically leaving the cave with one tank only, which is an emergency situation for technical diving. But if we think about it, in case we have to share gas with a teammate, we both are breathing from one tank each. He decided to risk his safety to preserve the life of his teammate, because maybe the teammate comes back there with barely any gas in it, you know, because he's fucking around over there looking for the T that obviously is not there. So the team leaders maybe doesn't have enough gas to stay there forever waiting for him and say, what do I do? What do I do? He takes a decision. He takes a risk. This is a possible outcome of this situation, that the diver decides, okay, I leave you one of my tanks and I go out. Now, the happy ending is that the diver, the teammate, realized that the cave doesn't look like before, so maybe my team leader was right, and he comes back and they meet and they manage to go out together. This whole operation was a little bit sloppy, but they managed to get out. By the way, when you see that the clip of the tank was stuck, that happened for real. And if you find yourself in a situation where the spring of your ball snap is broken, you can take a rock and push the ball snap open. You can force it open and unclip it. So what you saw in the video was not part of the scenario, it just happened, so added value. Now we're gonna see what went wrong and how to fix it. The first problem was not taking data. We saw how the teammate was just writing down the navigation point and the dive time. This is a problem because if you don't have enough information, you cannot take educated decisions. You might have to take decisions to continue the dive or to solve a problem, which is what happened in this situation. The solution is learn how to use the compass and writing the data on your webnote. Most divers have no idea how to use the compass. Most cave divers have no idea how to use a compass. And then they ask him, but do you really use the compass to see every change in direction of the line? Yes, otherwise it's pointless. You have to dive with the compass and commit to that, because if you do not check every change in direction of the line, every direction of every different jumps you do, which is not just left and right, but is north, northwest, you don't have to go crazy writing the degrees, 65 degrees. Who's gonna read that? Nobody. But put at least that, okay, 65 degrees, let's say northeast, something like that. Northeast, east, okay. and you can draw your little map on your web note if you feel like you're a little artist, okay? It doesn't have to be a cartography or a survey. You just want to take data for you and that you can share with your teammate underwater. Learn how to use the compass, don't be lazy. Problem number 2, cutting corners. Also here, don't be lazy, because if you cut corners, you can miss an intersection. As you saw in this video, as I saw a million times guiding my divers. Well, it's not a million times, but I'm Italian, so I'm overly dramatic, just a bunch of times, alright? How do you fix not cutting corner? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's super easy, just don't be stupid. You need to read the line. There are 2 ways to read the line. You look at the line, yeah, and if the visibility is bad, you have this meaty thing at the end of your hands called fingers, hold the line, and you read the line. Now, of course, we don't want to spend all our dives staying like this, looking at the line, okay? And this is why this thing happened, guys, because in theory, if you really want to be perfect, you should be always 1 arm distance from the line, so if the visibility goes bad, you can grab it. So you're really with your eyes, with your hands. But there are smart ways to get away from the main line if you want to see other things, okay? You can make a jump with a spool, you put your arrow, you put the spool, and you go to see a formation which is maybe 20 meters away from the line. If you go in giant caves like here in Mexico, if you're in Florida in tunnels like this with autoflow, maybe you don't see that, whatever, guys. Come to Mexico. And so you'll see something underwater. Or you can ask your teammate, attention, stay here, and you move 3-4 meters from the line to look at what you want to look. But 3-4 meters, not 25. Anyway, when you're swimming, don't cut corners, read the line with your eyes or with your hands. I believe in you. Problem number 3, separation. The separation happens when there is a disagreement because the divers are not capable of making a plan together, because they don't have enough information, they are not used to interpret those information. Especially one diver has the information, the other one does, he tries to show him this information, but the other guy doesn't know how to interpret them. So they don't manage to make a plan, everybody wants to survive, I go here, I go there. So disagreement because they cannot make a plan. How do you fix that? This you fix it before diving, because you must agree on procedures. In order to agree on the procedures when you plan your diving operations, you must review the procedures. And when you find out that one of your teammates doesn't follow the same procedures that you follow, you need to find a common ground. One example is, do we do individual marking, every diver put a marker, or we do team marking, there is one marker on the line for the whole team? You just have to agree on it. Or, okay, I'm gonna take data and I'm gonna make my mini-map and I'm gonna write down all possible things about the cave, even where the stalactites are, because later I make my map. I'm not gonna do that, but telling what you're going to do. Look, guys, this is how it's gonna look like. This is the map paper printed that we have in the car, and this is the map that I write on my window to bring underwater, so underwater I can show it to you. Do you understand this? Yes, I do. Okay, fantastic. Now we can dive together, and we already decided which information we are able to share underwater. It's not that everybody has to make a map, but everybody should have information about depth, time, distance, direction, which intersections you do. And then maybe one diver is making a map, the other one is just writing down the timeline. There are different ways to do it, but you have to agree with your teammates about the procedures and which information you can share underwater. Today we were speaking about navigation mistakes. We prevent them by taking data, and we correct them by reading, interpreting those data. if you make a mistake, you're not necessarily a bad diver. You just need to improve your standards, improve your skills, and understand your priorities. Maybe your priority is not anymore working on your buoyancy. Maybe your priority is understanding how this magnet thing that you put on your wrist works, because it can keep you alive in a place where, like in Mexico, caves are like a labyrinth. There are lines everywhere, you know? Because, like my instructor told me, there are two kinds of divers. There are cave divers and there are line followers. Guys, self-awareness, situational awareness, and discipline are not optional. They make the difference between who is gonna tell your story, if you or the other guy who made it out. That's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching until the end, and see you next time.
Welcome everybody!